Would you recommend taking practice exams the week of the actual exam? Yes. However, I wouldn't recommend taking too many. A lot of times students run the risk of burnout, especially in the final week, by doing 2 full-length exams on consecutive days, back to back. So that would be maybe Wednesday and Thursday of next week, or Saturday and Sunday of this coming weekend. Not a good idea. For a couple of reasons. One of them is that this will inevitably lead to burnout for the simple reason that you're putting your brain through too much. After taking a full-length 5-section exam, which is at a minimum a 3.5-hour experience, that's going to fry your brain. My brain is certainly fried whenever I do this. And so it's good to take a break. Sometimes less is more. And what you can do is perhaps take a full-length exam this Saturday, or if you have some time off next week, next Monday. And then you spend the following day doing nothing but reviewing that exam. Nothing but reviewing that exam. And proper review can take at least 3 to 4 hours. Let's say you scored really well and you got a 170. Awesome. A 170 is about 10 questions wrong. But that's not all you want to review. You also have maybe the 15 or so questions where you had difficulty. Maybe you were down to 2 and you guessed and got lucky, or maybe you got it right, but you could have gotten it right more quickly. So reviewing each of those questions, a minimum of 5 to 10 minutes per question, that is going to add up. What does your review process look like? It involves going through in painstaking detail the following. What was tempting about the wrong answer choice that made you pick it? And what ultimately made it wrong? What was discouraging about the right answer choice that pushed you away from it? And what ultimately made it correct in the end? You're looking for the patterns in the tricks the test makers use, and specifically the tricks that you're susceptible to. You'll notice over time that there are patterns in the tricks that you're falling for. And you want to spot those patterns and be ready for them so that next time you'll spot it and you won't end up picking it. I worked with a student earlier today and we were going over a reading comp passage. And we found that 2 of the questions he got wrong for the exact same reason. It was that the first half of the answer choice was extremely appealing. It was spot on. But the second half of the answer choice is where it went wrong. So he was reading too quickly and choosing answer choices too spontaneously without fully going through the process. And his major insight for our coaching session was read the answer choice thoroughly and also go through all 5 answer choices. And so if you want to do this properly, it's going to take more than simply exam after exam after exam, checking the answer key, saying to yourself, oh yeah, I get that now, and then moving on. It actually takes longer sometimes to review an exam or to review a question than it does to complete that question. At a minimum, you want to spend 5 minutes per LR question, for example, and preferably more. And you can look at explanations, mine or others, doesn't really matter. But the real work comes from your review process, not from reading foundational texts or watching explanation videos. The work comes from your thought process. And you can only do that so much. If you're doing 2 or 3 exams over the next week and reviewing those 2 or 3 exams thoroughly, you're not really going to have time to do much else. And that's okay. I'd rather you do fewer exams and go through them in more depth than do a greater number just to measure your results and have a larger data set of where you stand. That's not quite as useful as the review process.